Well, every one of us has beaten the death out of the ketchup bottle to get out the ketchup, right? But when the same is available in a squeezing package, it surely improves our user experience, doesn't it? Yeah, it surely does mine, I don't know about you. But to talk more about user experience, coming up on stage, Ms. Nitya Kumar, Head of Design, NUMA India, and Google Developers Expert Product Design. Please welcome her.
Morning. Everyone can hear me well? Okay, so let's begin. As you can see, my talk is themed Design is for Everyone. What do you think? True, false? True? I know I'm talking to almost a room full of developers here. How many developers? May I have a show of hands? Great. Designers? 2, maybe 4 people, yeah? And people who are not designers or developers? Okay, great. So we have a sample size of everyone here. And the case I want to make is that design is for everyone, is by everyone. And I want to talk to you all about it because it's something that's very important to me. I will introduce myself first. So as you know, I'm Nitya. I'm a designer, and more importantly, I'm a service designer. Anyone here know or have heard of what service design is? Maybe not many, because it's a very, very small niche and upcoming design department. And what does it mean? I'll explain to you as we go ahead. But I work at this place, which is a startup accelerator and an innovation hub. And because of the work that I do, I have the privilege to actually work with a lot of different kind of people. So I work with startups, people with very early stage ideas, even if something just in their imagination. We can help them take whatever this is and put it out into a product, test it in the market, and then see whether it can grow and scale and actually beat the market. Yeah. I also work with corporates, and something that's very interesting that's happening here, or in this decade, let's say, is that many of the corporates want to work more and more like startups. Anyone know why? Agility, yeah, very true. So one of the reasons why they want to work more like startups is because when we all think of startups, we think of very fast, sudden growth, scaling. They're doing everything faster, they're doing everything efficiently, etc. But at the same time, corporate giants are people who have been here, who know, who have made the mistakes and learned from them. And so one of the very interesting things in these decades that's happening is that corporates and startups and other companies want to work together to collaborate. And this is something that's very interesting for us all, because going forward, whether you're going to be or whether you are working in a corporate, startup, small company, big company, whatever it is, collaboration is something you will all have to do and probably already doing. Another thing is working with government agencies, educational institutions, and individuals. And these are all very different kind of people who need different kind of things from designers. So let me talk a little bit more about the kind of design that I'm talking about. Most of the people that I work with, the first impression that they have is that design is for artists. Have many of you also felt this way? I can't draw, so I'm not a designer, maybe I'm not creative, I'm very logical, etc. So it's very true. I mean, design is for artists, but it is not just for artists. It's also for engineers. I know so many great engineers who are wonderful designers. You need that kind of logical thinking. You need that kind of mindset that you have in order to create amazing products. Yeah. Design is for entrepreneurs as well. for people who are bold, who want to find a challenge that they want to solve. They go out, many of the times they go out with nothing but just bootstrapped funds, and they build something from scratch. They gather people around them to help them. And this is what community does as well. So in my opinion, design is for all of us, and for all of us together. Yeah? Let me take you a little bit of a theory about what I'm talking about. So there are 4 main orders of design. The thing that most of us are familiar with, the most familiar with, is something that we call visual communication. So as humans, we are all very visual. We like to see things, we get attracted to it, or we understand it better. And so this is the first order. And for this, it is the design that we see in print, the design that we see as signs, signals, anything that indicates to us what is happening. And even here, UI, UX, everything could come in, but not just for this. When you go next level further, we talk about products, we talk about things. And again, all of us here in this room use products, the chairs that we sit on, the devices that we are using right now to tweet and everything. These are all products as well. And this comes into the next tangible artifact that we, again, not just can see, but we can feel, we can experience. And then talking about experience, the next one is interactions. This is something that UX designers, for example, really work on these days. It's not just about how a screen works or looks. It's about the whole experience. It's about how one person who is facing a big challenge is provided with a product at the right time when he's facing it. And efficiently, he goes through a set of steps in order for him to actually have a wonderful experience about it. So this, it talks about services that we all use. And the final one is the bigger umbrella, which is systems. So when we talk about government agencies, when we talk about healthcare, when we talk about bigger things, bigger skin in the game, all of these things are made up of the small things. So they are made up of symbols, they're made up of objects, they're made up of artifacts. They work on how people interact with each other, interact with objects, and together it makes an ecosystem. So for me, why I wanted to talk to you all here is that this is an amazing ecosystem here, first of all, okay? And as Hardik spoke about today, he said that they had a challenge first, and then they built something. And together, all of you here, are the result here. We all have people who have amazing talent, who have the drive. You've come on a Sunday morning here to be with all of us, to sit here. So all of us have drive. And so why I wanted to address all of you is that anyone with a little challenge in mind, anyone with a little passion that they want to do something, if you have a community to support you, if you have people with the skill of any of these things here, you will succeed. You can succeed together. So it's not just a designer, or not even a designer. It's not just one person sitting somewhere and making an impact. It is all of us here. So here's one of the examples that I want to give. Anyone heard of this before or seen? Yeah? So this is a Velo wheel. What it is that two people who are actually visiting India, so not Indians, visiting India, saw that in certain villages, women have to walk miles in order to get water for their home, for cooking, for cleaning, everything. And then it's a clear problem there. Like, why in this age, even in this age, do people have to have these hardships? Yeah? So any problem, big or small, can be solved. All you need to do is try. And so for 2 years, they experimented in India. They went to villages, they spoke to people, they asked them about what kind of, what time of day do they get the water, how much do they have to walk, what happens if there's no water, etc. They used all the materials that are locally available, cheap, cheap to procure, easy to build. And this, what you see, is the first prototype of the Velo wheel. What they decided was that instead of having something you carry on top of your head, why not something that you can pull? It's easier, and it carries a lot more water as well. It's sturdy, etc. So they came up with this, and it was not easy, even though it's a very small product, as you can see. 2 years of iteration, and it's finally something that came out as something designed for everybody. It's affordable, it keeps water safe, most importantly. So even with the long miles of journey that you have, there's no dirt going in, there's no contamination, etc. So this is truly designed by and for everybody. Talking about water, I would also like to talk to you about another project that I have been working about. So this is a problem statement or a challenge statement that you can think of. So how might we collect and use accurate water consumption in order to identify illegal consumption, leakage, all the problems that cities' water will have, and to build an efficient network in the city. Yeah. Water, as we all know, is a big, big problem, right? I think in the next, we've had a lot of predictions that by the year 2025, a lot of states are going to go dry. There's not going to be enough water for everyone. So this is a big problem that we're talking about. And it's not possible to solve by one person, not by one designer, not by one engineer, not by anyone else. It needs us. It needs everybody. So to give you a little idea of how we went about this. So this is a project that I'm currently working on, and it's called Data City. It's basically sponsored by the government of Karnataka, as well as a corporate called Suez, and the Bangalore Water Works. And it's extremely tough to get these players together, first of all, and then to work together to build something. But why I want to talk about this is because you have 3 different entities working together. It's a lot of challenge. So first of all, a corporate or a big person who's sponsoring it needs to figure out what the challenge is that they want to solve. Then there's a government agency that actually provides data and support. And by support, I think they really need support because anything that you have to do, even filling a form, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort as well. And then finally, there is a startup who actually looks at this challenge and solves it. So I'm talking about all this, but I'm not talking about design. They can all do that themselves, right? No? So the design that I'm talking about here is just design as a catalyst. And here I'm not talking about the symbolic design, design of interfaces or design of artifacts, but I'm talking about just helping people come up with that mindset. And how do we do that? So even for someone to figure out what the challenge is, you need to know what are the main pain points. How does it impact different people? How big, what is the strategic decision of solving such a problem? Does it help a large amount of people or a small amount of people? Yeah? And to do all this, you just need a little catalyst. You need to get the people together, help them co-design it, to say, bring the government, bring corporates, everyone together to actually think about the problem that they want to solve. And so this is something that's actually easy once you get them all in the same place. I think yesterday we did a small design thinking workshop for those who were here, and it lasted only about 1.5 hours. But still, we got some amazing ideas. We got you all thinking about problems that you have to face, problems that the end user will have to face. So imagine putting people who can really impact something together and then getting them to figure out these challenges. So this too is something that we can do. And what we call this people working all together, is open innovation. And there are a lot of open innovation happening in the country now. Hackathons, how many of you here have been to hackathons? Yeah? So that itself is something open. So there are a lot of people without any payment or anything coming together, generating wonderful ideas and taking things forward. You're already making the world better by doing that. Community co-creation. There are a lot of community initiatives here where people meet in any kind of society and talk together, figure out what to do, and co-create solutions. How many of you here live in apartment buildings? Not many. Okay, but in apartment buildings is a good example. There are these micro communities who come together who face common challenges. And these challenges could be, I don't want to write my name every time I enter. I don't want every time that a guest comes that I get a call and then I have to let them in. There are so many buildings, I don't know how to find the right person. So these are all challenges that small micro community faces. And together, someone comes up and says, I'm going to build this digital system that helps all of us just eliminate these problems. That's co-creation, and that's for community. Yeah, a lot of student contests as well. There's also government-funded or not government. In schools, people come up with solutions, and these are taken later for the better world. And finally, also startup accelerators. These are people working together, not just startups, but startups, corporates, everyone, in order to make better solutions for the world. Yeah? So it's not only for that. The next one that I want to talk about is there's design for productivity and work. Yeah? You can see here a table. It's just a table. It's an artifact. But someone has thought about it. Someone has said, what does a person sitting in a desk need? What do they want to do? What do you think this is? Or what do you know this is? Co-working space? Yeah. So co-working space, why do you think they exist? Why are they such a rage now? It's cool. It's cool, sure. It's really nice to sit in a wonderful looking place. But it's not just that. There are people who are doing studies to show that, how to increase the productivity. When people communicate together, is it better? If they're sitting 9 to 5 in a certain place, is it better to keep them engaged? So there are people studying something, coming up with these insights, saying that, if a space is designed in this way, it actually triggers certain things for them. It helps them have some time for themselves if they want. So many of these co-working spaces have specific silent spaces. You don't want to talk to anyone, you just want to do your work. You have silent spaces, but you want to talk to each other, meet each other, learn from each other. You have really nice community spaces as well. So there's intent behind why people design this. Some of them are really good, some of them may not work, but they're all iterative and they're all intentional. Yeah. Then we have design for lifestyle. That is a big, big market. Everyone here, lifestyle and living, it comes to everything that we do. So the food we eat, the sports that we do, the kind of health that we have, the leisure activities that we like, all of these are services for our life, right? For kids, maybe, for how do we do. And this also has to be well designed, all the touch points, because people have a lot of varied interests, and you need to understand each of these lifestyle implications in order to design better for it. You need to use data that's available. You need to do research. And this, again, is not designed by one person. It's designed by a lot of people coming together, giving insights. And then, finally, after testing it, it happens. It's there. The next one is also designed for health and wellness. This case study is actually, it happened in Gujarat. So the problem statement that they were looking for is how might we reduce health and vulnerability to low-cost people living in rural and low-cost villages. So the places that you see are the places that were the sample size for research. And a lot of work has been done to understand how can we make this accessible, make healthcare accessible. The end product could be, it was actually something that every doctor or every household could use, very low cost, low way knowledge sharing that would help actually women understand more about how to think about their health, how to think about their wellness. Yeah? So with this, I again reiterate that I really think, even though I'm a designer, it cannot be left just to us designers. We need more people, we need everyone to think about it, come together and create something. It needs passion, which I think like everyone here, I think, has a lot of passion, yes or no? Yes. How many of you here have created something? An app, website? Whoa. Give yourselves a big hand, first of all. Okay? So all of us here are creators. All of us here have passion to do something, and that's all you need. You have a community, a big community backing you here, and so you collaborate with each other, support each other, and that's it. You are a designer. And why I say this is design literally actually translates to create. So any one of us here who have the passion, who can create something, is a designer. And so I would like to thank you with this. Together we will create, together we can create. And I really hope that all of you here took something out of these case studies and think of challenges that we're all facing, come together, create something, and just keep growing as a community like this. So thank you very much. You have been a great audience.